Why don't you decide now that you're going to expand your world, that if other people can learn, you could learn too? Well, it's hard for me. Have you been and sit in a class yet? Have you signed up yet? No, I haven't. See, a lot of people say no, ladies and gentlemen, to things, and they don't even know what they're saying no to. They haven't even challenged themselves. He hasn't even gone to sit into a class and say, teach me how to read. Instead, it's been easier for him to go through life, he thinks, trying to play a whole con game, pretending he knows how to do something that he doesn't know how to do. And you know what? Most of us go through life like that. Most of us go through life pretending. Pretending that we're satisfied where we are, pretending that everything is okay, pretending that we don't have any special goals or ambitions or desires, when really deep down inside we do really want more. But if you look at our behavior, if you judge based upon what we do, that really will tell you some true stories about people, because you have to judge a tree by the fruit it bears, not the fruit that it talks about. A lot of people pretend that they want more out of life, but all you have to do is watch their actions. The proof is in the pudding. If you want to do something, if you thought about something you want to do, take it head on. Decide that you're going to start looking at it, start doing research on it, start tackling it, start becoming involved in whatever and wherever it might lead you, to begin to explore the possibilities in that particular thing that you're seeking. So that you can begin to learn all you can about it. Decide that you're going to face it, that whatever shortcomings you have, that you're going to strengthen yourself there. Whatever training that's required, that you're going to go get that training, that you're going to get started right now. Do what you can, where you are, with what you have, and never be satisfied. Don't get satisfied with yourself. Always know that wherever you are, you can enjoy more, that you deserve more. But most people, you know what they do? Most people go through life quietly and safely, tiptoeing to an early grave. Find out what it is you want and go after it as if your life depends on it. Why? Because it does. People that have found their passion, people that found the things that they love, people that have found the things that they can pour their lives into, decide to do it now. Decide whatever you want to do, that you are now going to become actively involved right now, exploring the possibilities for you. That you're going to look at it and do just a little bit of it right now. When I decided to become a speaker, I didn't just quit my job and just ran out and say, I'm a motivational speaker. No. What I did was, I decided to start looking at other people that were involved in the speaking profession. I volunteered to work with some speakers so that I could learn.
Write the vision. What I'm asking you to do is write the vision and make it plain, because when you know what you want, Because if you don't know what you want and you're watching me, nothing else matters. What do you want?
You got to live what's in you. Life is just too short and unpredictable.
When you're not clear on what you want, like you get up whenever you feel like it, you don't have no drive, you don't have no passion. But when you know what you want, why do you wake up at 3? Because I know what I want.
There are a lot of people who were here yesterday that they're not here today. There are a lot of opportunities that were around yesterday. They're not here today.
So what do you want? Do you want to retire? Do you want to spend more time with your family? I don't know. What is it? You want a better job? You want a promotion? Do you want to be an artist? Do you want to be an engineer? I don't know, but I want you to start the year off. So when people ask me, where your passion come from? Where your drive come from? I know what I want.
Whatever you want to do, get your feet wet.
Do the things others don't want to do. Do what's necessary. Do what it takes, no matter what it is, and try not to hurt anybody along the way.
Each person invented himself for whatever reasons, through whatever circumstance, through whatever he has gone through, that we are each a figment of our own imagination.
To create a business, you've got to initially work day and night, weekends. It's really hard work.
I worked 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I cared. That's what I cared about. I cared about solving problems, being successful. Anytime an obstacle presented itself, I used it to my advantage and made it work. And I never heard the word no. If I heard the word no, it meant maybe. Then I made maybe yes.
Don't allow anyone, friend, family, acquaintance, teachers, whoever it is, don't allow anyone to tell you that what you are dreaming for yourself and your family is not possible. It is possible. Don't be one of those people 20 years from now are going to be walking around in a 9-to-5 job, miserable and angry and bitter.
In the end, luck plays a very important part in how successful you are, but the harder you work and the longer you work, the luckier you're going to be.
People need to understand that we cannot take a breath, that we have competitors who want to take the food off of our table. The mentality that you need in a business today, Starbucks or otherwise, to build sustainable success and enduring success is you have to eradicate the human behavior of relaxing, the human behavior of feeling like we have won.
People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing, and it's totally true. And the reason is is because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up. It's really hard, and you have to do it over a sustained period of time. So if you don't love it, if you're not having fun doing it and you don't really love it, you're going to give up.
To punish failure is yet another way to encourage mediocrity, because mediocrity is what fearful people will always settle for.
I'm going to put the vast majority of my energy, attention, and dollars into building a great product or service, and put a smaller amount into shouting about it, marketing it. Because I know if I build a great product or service, my customers will tell each other. You have to mix in some patience with that.
You know, when you get famous or when you get big and you start earning a lot of money and you start doing things that are important, people around you start feeling less significant, and what'll happen is they'll start to pull you down. Right? I call these red lighters. So people who are red lighters are people that stop you from doing things, and we want to not stay away from red lighters, but just be cautious of who we hang around.
There's always going to have to be an element of luck, but I think more important is putting yourself in a business that can be ubiquitous, that really doesn't have limits.
You've got to be a really good talent scout, because no matter how smart you are, you need a team of great people.
Develop the habits. You've got the brain power, you've got the energy, but develop the habits of success.
So the first thing is you've got to be able to take rejection. That's the first thing. Second is you have to hang around the right people.
I grew up under a premise. Go in an industry that has a large profit margin. Don't go in one that's slim. Go in one that's large. Take what you've got. Your assets are your energy. Your assets are your willingness to just not be told no. The harder it is, the tougher it is, the bigger the challenge to get in, the bigger the opportunity behind.
And what happens most of the time, people change. People change around you because they start treating you different because of your success.
Stay focused on the stuff that you're providing to your users. You're going to make a ton of mistakes. It doesn't matter. You don't get judged by the mistakes. People don't remember those years from now. They remember the things that you did that were good.
Most people think success is from here and they go all the way up, right? And they think it's a straight line. But what happens is you kind of go and you go like this, and then you get that success.
What fear is stopping you in your tracks and burning the soles of your feet? What if conquering that fear, whatever it is that keeps you from being what the Creator intended for you? What if you could unleash everything great in your life?
At some time or another, have agonized over making a decision. Some decisions are major decisions. And also there are a lot of small decisions that we don't make, that they tax our minds, they drain our energy. They create a lot of anxiety and nervousness because we don't take care of it. We decide not to decide. which is a decision. Deciding to decide, to act, is a major, major challenge for all of us at different points in different areas of our lives. And there are things that happen to us along the way, experiences that we have that prevent us from working through the mental block of acting, of doing those things that we know we ought to do. And so what I want you to think about is, what is there that you know you need to do, that you want to do this, but for some reason or another, you've been holding back. For some reason or another, you just have not been able to gather your nerves or be able to work through the procrastinating or putting it off or justifying or blaming. Some reason or another, you just haven't done it. And you know you ought to do this. You really want to do this, but you don't know why you haven't done it. We know that this is not easy, that you really have got to put all of yourself into it. It's very challenging to act, to do those things. There are times when you're looking at it and you say, I know I need to do this, but I don't feel like it. From acting, it's the fear of failure. And if you've already failed, you don't want to fail again. The pain of that, the disappointment, the fear of loss is another thing. Because many times when we do those things that we know we need to do, we feel that we might lose somebody. Many of us don't act because we want other people's approval. Many of us don't do the things that we want to do and don't act because of lack of self-confidence. We don't believe enough in ourselves. There are a lot of people that their jobs are making them sick because they won't act. You check out the absenteeism and the people that are depressed. And so there are many reasons why we don't act. There are other things, though, that affect us. It's that not wanting to take personal responsibility. We want somebody else to do it. Many times we pick up our inability to do certain things from people that we love, people that we admire. We identify with them, and we live in the context of their ideas, their opinions, and their life patterns. We buy into it unconsciously.
I couldn't help but think that God wants greatness to come out of us. But it takes a humility to handle greatness. You can't believe one way and live another way and be great. It's going to cost you some time. It's going to cost you some energy. It's going to cost you some sacrifice. It's going to cost you some resources. It's going to cost you some hours of your life laying down, paying the price, going the extra mile, doing what other people are not willing to do. Greatness is not cheap. Greatness always costs more. That's why there's not many people who achieve greatness. They're not willing to pay the price. And God says the ones that I can trust greatness with in the great house are the ones who will purge themselves, cleanse themselves, set themselves aside and say, God, I want to be great for you. I want you to touch my life with your grace, and I want to see greatness break forth in my life for the glory of my King.
You can spend your whole life imagining ghosts, worrying about the pathway to the future, but all there will ever be is what's happening here. And the decisions we make in this moment, which are based in either love or fear.
But it's not too late for me to get my passion back.
One of the keys to Apple is Apple's an incredibly collaborative company. You know how many committees we have at Apple?
No.
0. We have no committees.
No committees.
We are organized like a startup. One person's in charge of iPhone OS software. One person's in charge of Mac hardware. One person's in charge of iPhone hardware engineering. Another person's in charge of worldwide marketing. Another person's in charge of operations. We're organized like a startup. We're the biggest startup on the planet.
Jumping is scary. When you first jump, your parachute is not going to open right away. I would love to tell you that it would, that when you quit your job, you'll just have a shop full of clients. It ain't gonna happen. The chute don't ever open right away. You gonna get some skin tore off you on them rocks.
There's tremendous teamwork at the top of the company, which filters down to tremendous teamwork throughout the company. And teamwork is dependent on trusting the other folks to come through with their part without watching them all the time, but trusting that they're going to come through with their parts. And that's what we do really well. And we're great at figuring out how to divide things up into these great teams that we have and all work on the same thing, touch bases frequently, and bring it all together into a product. We do that really well. People say you have to have a lot of passion for what you're doing, and it's totally true. And the reason is because it's so hard that if you don't, any rational person would give up. It's really hard, and you have to do it over a sustained period of time. So if you don't love it, if you're not having fun doing it, and you don't really love it, you're going to give up. And that's what happens to most people, actually. If you really look at the ones that ended up, being successful, unquote, in the eyes of society, and the ones that didn't, oftentimes it's the ones that are successful loved what they did so they could persevere when it got really tough. And the ones that didn't love it quit because they're sane, right? Who would want to put up with this stuff if you don't love it? So it's a lot of hard work, and it's a lot of worrying constantly. If you don't love it, you're going to fail. So you got to love it. You got to have passion, and I think that's the high order bit. The second thing is, you've got to be a really good talent scout, because no matter how smart you are, you need a team of great people, and you've got to figure out how to size people up fairly quickly, make decisions without knowing people too well, and hire them, and see how you do, and refine your intuition, and be able to help build an organization that can eventually just build itself, because you need great people around you. What I do all day is meet with teams of people and work on ideas and solve problems to make new products, to make new marketing programs, whatever it is.
If you don't ever jump, your parachute will never open. You will never soar. Now, you'll be safe. You'll sit there with that parachute on your back, all them skills you got and your skills you got, and you'll have it packed away, and you'll never get cut up on the rocks. Don't jump, and you'll never get cut up. But if you do not jump, you will never soar.
If you want to hire great people and have them stay working for you, you have to let them make a lot of decisions, and you have to be run by ideas, not hierarchy. The best ideas have to win.
There must be more than a facilitator who runs meetings. You obviously contribute your own ideas.
I contribute ideas, sure. Well, why would I be there if I didn't?
It's hard living. Life is hard. When you're 49 years old, been working on a job for 17 years, and they come in and tell you you're finished and give you 1 week severance pay, and you got to start all over again. It's hard. when you're married and raising children and your children are crawling and your husband dies unexpectedly. It's hard handling just the tragedies of life. It's hard when you're working on something and you put everything you have in it and it doesn't work out. You lose your money and other people's money. It's hard. It was rough when I lost my job and I could not find a job. It was humiliating and embarrassing, borrowing money, and then I couldn't pay the money back when I told them I would. That's rough. How people look at you, how they respond to you. It's very hard. It's humiliating. Here's what I discovered that happens to you in life, that you will go through things, and while you're going through them, you can't understand why it's happening to you. You do what it is you're supposed to. You're supposed to build something. You're supposed to create something. I don't know how to do it. Learn. Do whatever is required. Just go out there. It's possible you can get what you want. It's necessary. If you want it, you got to go into action. You got to be willing to experiment. You got to be willing to fail and to succeed. You got to be willing to form and to develop new relationships. It's you, it's on you. You got to make that happen. Nobody's going to bring it to you on a silver platter and say, here's your dream manifested. You go through the challenges of life and you look at it and embrace whatever comes to you. Don't run from it. Step toward it. Don't try and duck it like most people do. See, most people want it easy. See, easy come, easy what? Easy go. See, but when you go at what you're going to deal with and you deal with the difficulties of it, when you handle those hard things close at hand, making those hard decisions right now that you don't want to make, the people who go after this stuff, what makes it worth it? It's got to be your passion. You got to love it, ladies and gentlemen. You got to love it. It's got to be what you are supposed to do. Learning those things that you don't like to do, but you know that in order for you to get where you want to go, this is one of the hoops that you have to flip through. And I'm saying to you, whatever you got to do, do it, because if you don't, life is going to whoop you until you surrender. You must have faith. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in your abilities. You've got to believe in your service, your company, your ideas. Unquestionably, you got to have faith, and that faith gives you patience. That is not going to happen as quickly as you want it to happen. A lot of things are going to happen that will catch you off guard. And so therefore you've got to deal with and handle it as it comes. And not only that, but that faith and patience drives you into action. You've got to keep moving and keep plugging away. The harder the battle, the sweeter the victory. See, when it's hard and there's a struggle, see, what you become in the process is more important than the dream. That's far more important. The kind of person you become, the character that you build, the courage that you develop, the faith that you're manifesting. People know that you know what life is, that you have embraced life. You knew it was hard, but you did it hard. It's hard, yes, it's hard. It's difficult, yes, right, and it's worth it. You've got to believe in yourself. You've got to believe in your abilities. You've got to believe in your service, your company, your ideas. Unquestionably, you must have faith. It's hard, yes, it's hard. It's difficult, yes, right, and it's worth it.